y'all. Welcome to Stand on Your Business podcast. This is Nina G, and I have some special guests today.
So we are here today. I'm Loans by Natasha. We have Mr. Jemal King in the house.
Let's go.
And today is a very special day because just a week ago, I was in the DR with Mr. King, and we were all networking, and it was the greatest networking opportunity for me, and I would say Nina, and I'm sure all of the other people that came on. I had my son's event, got down there at about 12:30, got on the stage about 3 o'clock, making real estate
you know
real.
something, I'm going to just say this. I ain't going to let you even go there. Nina hit me up like, Jemal. She put me to the back of the room and was like, Jemal, I don't know if you know this, but Natasha, she going to be running late. Like, she going to be, but she was cool, though. She was like, your girl hit you back. She was like, but if you need somebody to go on stage.
That's right.
She's like, you know I got it.
Because if you stay ready,
You ain't got to get ready.
Yep. So one night we were talking and we decided that we wanted to come up with a podcast. So we wanted to bring you on so that way you can be part of this. And we came up with Stand on Your Business. We connected with so many people. And one thing is that many are not standing on their business. Exactly. And you are out here doing your thing. So I just want you to tell everyone who doesn't know you already kind of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, man, I appreciate that intro and congratulations.
Thank
this
you,
is
thank
big.
you.
You know, more people need to see this type of exposure and of people that's really doing business. You know, I had the pleasure to be working with you all now for the last 4 years, maybe or so.
Yeah, probably been longer than 4 years.
Yeah,
I think I
probably.
came out on social media and then I met you like 4 months later, for real.
Seriously. Yep, and I had just came out on social media too. So, yeah, but no, I'm Jemal, the 9 to 5 millionaire. And, you know, that name came from, everybody always say, man, where you get that name, the 9 to 5 millionaire? And it was given to me. It's funny because I was a Chicago police officer, right? I used to patrol the streets of Chicago. But during that time where I was a police officer, I had a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. And so everybody would always look at me and they would always say this one thing, like, man, why don't you quit your job? Like, why you still working as a cop? Why don't you quit your job, man? You're a millionaire. And I was always like, bro, this is a vehicle.
Say it again.
Like, this is a vehicle. Like, this job is a vehicle. So I'm like, so how many vehicles do you got? And them same people used to tell me to quit my job, they would have 3 or 4 vehicles. And they can only drive one at a time.
Exactly.
Right.
But I was like, I could have several vehicles. So I was like, man, the police department is nothing more than my hoopty. I looked at it as a hoopty. I looked at my real estate, though, as like my Cadillac Escalade.
Okay.
I love it.
And then we had a chain of daycare centers. We had a security company. And I was looking at every single thing as a vehicle. And then people say, why you call them vehicles? And I was saying, because all of these vehicles lead to one destination that I have for my life. So that's how I got the name, the 9 to 5 millionaire, because unlike 99% of people out here on social media, everybody on social media is saying, like, man, if you want to make it in life, you got to quit your job. Man, you got to step out there on faith. You got to quit your job, man. You don't really want this. And I'm like, no, you don't have to quit your job. And it's funny because I'm showing people, like my life goal, I stayed as a cop for 19 and a half years just to show people that you could work your 9 to 5. You can have a real estate portfolio that consists of almost 400 units. You can own a chain of daycare centers on the south side of Chicago. You can own one of the largest growing security companies in the state of Illinois. You can have your body in shape and work out. You could be a husband. You could be a father. You can do all of these things.
Y'all, he's talking about him. All of that he just said, that's all him.
No, I'm just saying, but that you can do all of it. And so, so that's how the name, the 9 to 5 millionaire, that's when everybody starts saying, man, like literally, it's really like an oxymoron if you think about it, because most people that work 9 to 5s are not millionaires. And most people that's millionaires don't
work 9 to 5.
Exactly.
So you got the short story.
Yep. So I had a question about that. So as you're going through the 9 to 5 millionaire world, you know, we got all of the people thinking like you're untouchable, right? So tonight we have a very small, intimate event because you are touchable. And when I got on the Making Real Estate Real panel, believe it or not, people would come to me and say, that's not real. Mm-hmm. That's not possible. And I'm like, I'm one of the type of people where I'm a realist, right? I'm going to hear what you have to say and see if it's possible. Yeah. And one of the very first things you said was you got to get your pen and paper and you got to talk about how much money you make in the lifestyle you want, and then how much money you need to make for the lifestyle you have, and how much money you need to make for the lifestyle you want. Yeah. And that has changed my life because, like I said, I just came out on social media a couple of months, and people don't know this story. I didn't know this story till like last year, but I met Jemal at an event when somebody was forcing me to be public because I really wasn't a public person. I'm a worker. I work behind the scenes. So in that world, like people think this is not real.
Yeah.
So we're bringing you here today so you can kind of like, you're a real person. You do this every day. So what would you say to those people that think like, oh, you're just the 1%. This can't happen. You started really with one property and we were just in one of the properties you purchased years ago.
Yep.
So tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I tell people like, and I heard Andre, my boy Dre, was here just a minute ago, and he was just talking about like one property away. And it's like, I really try to show people that you are only really one property away. And I used to say you one property away from, having this type of car or from having this type of house. But you are one property away now from having this type of purpose in your life. Like literally real estate for me is not even about money anymore. It's not about just owning property. I used to say I had a building for every bill, right?
Yes.
Now I say I got a property for every purpose. Like literally I am walking in purpose right now. And real estate, every single door that opened up, every door that I purchased opened up a door, led to a door of opportunity. And now I found my purpose in life. And so I would say like, I don't believe that God just made me special. Right? I don't believe that God just made some of the other individuals I'm with, some of the people I spoke with at InvestFest, like everybody up there. I get a chance to meet several billionaires or 3 billionaires that day. I had a chance to meet several multi-millionaires. And the one thing that we all got in common, and it's crazy because I study people, right? And it's crazy because I went to college and I majored in sociology and I never really knew what a sociologist did. I'm like, what is a sociologist? I didn't even know what kind of job you can get. But what I learned from it was how to study people, places, and things, right? Study different cultures. And so what I did, I learned how to study billionaires, multi-millionaires, anybody that I meet. And I'm like, what do we all have in common? Like, what do we all have in common? And the one thing that I would say that we all have in common is a crazy belief that anything and everything that we sought after, anything that we go after, that we're going to get it. And just think about that mindset, right? Think about the person that don't believe. Think about how when you're going into whatever it is that you're going to do in life, you're timid, you're scared. You're not even giving it your all because you're not even sure if it's going to work out. And in that same kind of way, when people get into investing, what do? If they don't have that belief, they're timid in the way they invest. And so therefore, they're setting themselves up automatically off the rip just because they don't even believe that the thing they're about to invest in is even going to happen for them.
Exactly.
But the person that believes, though, you're going in with the mindset that is going to work.
It's going to work.
You're going in like, hey, I'm putting this money up and this money going to come back to me. It's a totally different, you move different because so the person that believes that he's going to be successful, right? They're going in with the mindset like this is going to work. And so therefore they're doing the steps to make it work. But the person that don't believe, they going in and think it's not going to work.
Or they
think
never
something,
try.
Or they're not going to try. They think something is going to happen. And so what's going to happen? They automatically bring that into their life. And so the thing that, go back to your question, is that we all just, with the same thing. It's nothing different. God didn't give me an extra chromosome that he gave. It's like, look, I'm very touchable. The thing is that I am a regular person that just made some incredible investments. Those incredible investments literally put me in a position to make me untouchable, so to speak. It's the investments that's untouchable, actually. It's not me. And so, but I would say, but anybody and everybody can do the same thing. But it starts back with that belief that you just got through talking about.
And they got to do one property at a time. Just because he owns 1 million properties does not mean that you can't just take one property at a time and still have genuine success.
And it's simple. It's when I tell you it's simple, like it's literally, I say real estate is the one thing that, look, I hang around. So Eric Thomas, right? Y'all know Eric Thomas. He's the #1 motivational speaker in the world, right? And I've heard him tell people before, like he has a speaker training class. I've heard him sit there and tell people, he teaches people how to speak like him. And I'm like, bruh, like what you got is a gift. Like that's something that God put inside of you, right? That speaking, being able to just at the drop of a dime. I'm talking about thousands of people and you able to move the crowd and got everybody, mesmerized. I'm like, that's a gift. I'm like, bro, but real estate? Real estate is the one thing, though, that I can really teach everybody to do. And the reason why I say everybody can do real estate is because everybody's already doing real estate.
Exactly.
Everybody, you think about it. Everybody in this room, guaranteed, you rent, you either own, you either lease, or you a tenant in your parents' house. But everybody is part of real estate. And I'll just try to show people like, man, once you learn how to get to this side of the register, right? The side where the first was just the other day and everybody paying your rent money, then that's when you start finding success in real estate.
Because you participate in real estate, whether you the one that's gaining equity or you the one that's helping somebody else gain equity.
Absolutely.
I'm one thing I want to say about you, and I realized this in our trip. You know how they say when your cup overflows with oil, right? I see that your cup is for you, and the overflow you've given it to all of us. So that's something that's something that I've noticed about you, and I really appreciate that. But second to that, there's a discipline that goes into what you do, right? So I want to go back to when you started. What catapulted that discipline to, because you started off with one property in Englewood.
That's right.
Right? It was a multi-unit.
Yep, 4-unit building.
It was a multi-unit in Englewood. But what made you continue? Like, was there a mentor? Was there an innate feeling? Was there a vision from God? I mean, what was the discipline that that allowed you to continue that path?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And when I first started out, it was a discipline that was there before I even purchased the property. So the discipline came back to what you just actually said, the vision, right? I tell people have a purpose for every property you purchase. I tell people you can't just get in real estate just to get in real estate. You can't even get in real estate just to say, oh, I want some money. That's too vague. You have to make it personal, right? And so with my first property, I wanted to retire my wife. I remember I was south side of Chicago, right off of 83rd and Cottage Grove. I just almost lost my life. I had a 16-year-old kid take 16 shots at me, point blank. I still got 50% of my hearing in my ear right now because of that incident that happened over 23 years ago.
Wow.
And when I almost lost my life, I saw that, like, man, what kind of husband am I? Like, I didn't even have life insurance at the time.
Wow.
Say that again.
I didn't even have life insurance at the time.
So important.
Here I am working as a Chicago police officer. I didn't think I would die. I'm 23 years old. I'm sitting here, I'm young. At that age, you're not thinking about death. But literally, I almost lost my life. I didn't have life insurance. If we had just got married, if I would have died that day, the police department would have gave my wife, my newly wife, they would have gave her a flag. And they would have had a 21 gun salute. And they would have told me, they would have saluted her and said he was a good man. I think they actually have a death in the line of duty death insurance at the time, and it was $20,000.
Wow.
That pays
And
for
so
the
you telling me
funeral.
that's what my life is worth? That's what my family life is worth?
After all that
And
work
so
you
when
did.
you ask where the discipline came from, after I almost lost my life, and it's crazy because in my book, I talk about that 16-year-old kid that almost killed me. And I thank him in the book. That 16-year-old kid probably is closer, probably turning 40 now. And in the book, I'm like, whoever you are, because he got away. I'm like, whoever you are, I thank you. And I'm literally telling him, like, man, I thank you for saving my life. And I remember when I was writing it, the author, actually it was my wife that asked me the first question, said, why are you thanking this person that tried to kill you? And she said, why are you saying he saved your life? And I'm like, he saved my life because before that, I wasn't disciplined. Before that incident, I was just living life like it was just, like every day was just gonna happen. I was like I was gonna wake up every day. I wasn't living life with no sense of urgency.
Or purpose.
I was just like literally,
purpose.
I was just literally just going with the flow, getting up, going to work, getting my paycheck, coming back home, paying some bills, buying clothes, going out on the weekend, drink. And I was like, but when I almost lost my life, I looked at death point blank, literally 16 shots going past my face. And I'm fighting over the gun. I had burn marks on my hands for probably about 2 years just from holding the gun while he was shooting it. And I thanked him I thanked him for checking me and showing me that I'm taking life too easy.
Mm-hmm. That was the catalyst.
And when he did that, or when an incident happened, I still say I literally changed. The old version of Jemal died on August the 18th, 2001.
Wow.
That I changed. Y'all wouldn't have even known. If you put that person in front of you right here and put me, you would be like, this is two different people. It was at that very moment where I went in and I started looking at properties every single day because I said I gotta make sure that if anything ever happened to me again, that the properties would take care of my wife. It would replace my salary. So it was the vision of now making sure that she was straight if anything ever happened to me, because I was at the position where I couldn't leave my job. I still had to imagine going to a shooting. And matter of fact, the police department showed me how much they cared about me that day. They literally let me rest for about 2 hours and then they sent me back to work.
Wow.
Imagine that. Imagine you literally almost lost your life. They send you to the hospital, get checked out, and then they like, hey, we busy out here. We don't have enough men out here. We need you to get back to work.
Wow.
And the beauty about this story is you don't have to have 16 shots to make these steps.
Yeah, so after that happened, I said that I was going, what was the cost of me? What was my life? At the time, our lifestyle was only $5,000. So I said, I'm gonna go after enough real estate to cover that lifestyle so that passively, if anything ever happened to me, literally I was planning out my death at the age of 23. And I said, if anything ever happened to me, I got enough real estate to cover my wife and our life. And then after that happened, once I had enough real estate to take care of our current lifestyle, then that goes back to what you talked about. I said, how much is the future life? And then I went and I created this future life. I remember me and my wife, we went to Hyde Park and walked down the street. We was only making $36,000 at the time. And we didn't have enough money to purchase a home in that type of neighborhood. But we went to Hyde Park. We went past not Malcolm X, but Muhammad Ali's old mansion. We went past Farrakhan's house. And it was a couple other houses that was for sale. And we wrote down that address and asked how much does this house cost? And then once the real estate broker told us, then I went and I said, how many properties do I need to purchase in Gresham, Chatham, Englewood, and rent out so that we could live in a house like this? And then when I saw, it came out to like 3 properties. It was like literally 3 4-unit buildings. I can net $2,000 from each 4-unit building. So I got a 50-50 rule. So if I buy a 4-unit building and I'm receiving $1,000 each unit, that's $4,000 gross rent. That means that 50% of that $2,000 need to come back to me in my pocket. And so I said, okay, the mortgage to one of the mansions in Hyde Park was $6,000. So I said, man, I'm only three 4-unit buildings away from living in Hyde Park while still making $36,000 as a police officer.
Let's get there.
So literally that vision of living in Hyde Park, that vision of retiring my wife, that vision of this life that I created, wanting my kids to go to private school so they can have a better education I had. The vision kept me disciplined because it was real. And I think sometimes people lose discipline, not because they don't have discipline, or I think people lose discipline because it's kind of like the vision that they have for themselves is not worth it. It's like, what's the end goal? The end goal not worth it to you. So that's why you quit. The end goal not worth it to you. So that's why you give up. The end goal is not worth it to you. So you just walk away from it. And so that's one thing the reason why I always stuck with it, because the end goal, I didn't have another option. I couldn't go back and play football. I couldn't, the NFL was over. That door closed on me. Every single day I went to work, I feared that I was going to lose my life. Imagine going to work every day, putting on a uniform, kissing your wife, and literally when you kiss her saying goodbye, you literally saying like possibly goodbye.
Amen. Like that.
So the vision, I had to literally, for every bad experience I had as a police officer, I had to create good visions in my head. And so I'm literally, my life right now is nothing more than a manifestation of all of the visions that I had 23 years ago.
Talk about discipline.
Right. And I think that every time I meet with you, I learn more and more about you, right? Every time. So I think that when people are out here and they listening to you as a 9-to-5 millionaire and they thinking that it's impossible, I think people need to listen to the story, let that story resonate with you. So that way you can understand that this man coming up with real estate and making purpose for property so that way he could take care of his family and get to the next step. And because he took that first foot forward, now today, you are where you are today.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of roll it back a little bit. So we talked about your story and how you got here, but we have a lot of real estate people listening on the line, and you were here in 2 markets.
Yeah.
You were here in the 2010.
Yeah.
And now we're in a correction market today.
Is that what they call it?
That's what I'm calling it.
I call it a
it a
shift.
shift, a correction. I don't think
Correction.
that, I think it's a lot of names for it, but if you want to kind of talk about this market and, going from there to then and how you as 9-to-5 millionaire is dealing with this, because you too are out here still purchasing and flipping properties and all of that other
So
stuff.
I think it was Henry Ford. Don't quote me on it. I believe it was Henry Ford. He said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Hey.
Millionaires I made in
Hey.
Never let it. Millionaires and billionaires, we look forward to times like now.
Yeah.
Yes.
right? This is to take it because 9 to 5 million, right? So I always go back to my 9 to 5. Right now, this is like going to a liquidation sale,
Yeah.
right? This is like going to 50% off. Everything is for sale, and so it's supply and demand, right? And right now, the supply is great. The supply, right now, the demand is low, right? The supply is great. Oh, the supply is great.
The supply is great for who?
No, the supply is great. I just took you to I just bought 63 property portfolio. I get properties all the time. I just bought a 19-unit building for $400,000. The supply is great. It's great.
It's the limiting mindset.
So the supply was low when the interest rates were low.
Right.
Mm.
So for what?
Right. When the interest rates were low,
Yeah.
right?
Right, because everybody was going crazy.
Because everybody was buying. So then what
Exactly.
happens to the prices of the properties?
The prices of properties gonna go up.
Why? Because everybody looking to buy properties.
Yeah.
So then what's the opposite of that? Right now, the interest rates are high. So what happens to the prices of the properties?
They're supposed to go down, and I think they are going down.
Oh, they
but I
definitely
think that's the difference between our worlds, right?
Yeah.
Because you are the 9 to 5
investor.
millionaire, you are a portfolio investor. I probably have 186 people out, looking for different properties, and it has been a little hard for them. Like we have seen 34 people bidding on the same properties as one person. And like we were talking to Dre, your lender matters in that situation because these sellers don't care about you getting a property for 0% down.
Yeah.
They want to close in 3 weeks.
But I would say the difference probably is that the people that you have that's looking for property, most of the properties they're looking for are already complete, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
So
mindset matters.
I'm the person that sells the properties to them.
Got you.
And so I've never purchased a property that was fixed up. I only purchase properties that's not fixed up.
Right.
And so in my market, there's plenty of properties out there that's not fixed up. And so that's what I'm saying. When I'm saying the supply is great, it's literally, but now you're looking at, it's not a lot of investors that's fixing up those properties and putting them on the market for your clients.
So that's how you get those opportunities.
Yeah.
I get them because, it's nobody out there that got the money to actually fix the properties up.
Well, we got the money.
we got the money.
We have the money. What we don't have is the proper mindset to these consumers that want their dream home on that first purchase. They're not understanding that starter home. That's where wealth is made. That's where equity is created. But we're seeing these beautiful houses all over Instagram, and that's what we want.
And guess what happens after they get that beautiful house? 9 months later, they want to buy a 4-unit. And now they got to put 25% down because they didn't take advantage of house hacking and put that 3.5% down or 0% if you had the opportunity to get some down payment assistance to go down to the single family on the next
I
one.
had that same conversation. I had that same conversation with a gentleman yesterday. He drove by a condo. He likes the location. He's approved for a multi-unit. No, Nina, I want to go for this one. I'm like, let's get the agent on the line. We got to revamp this. We can buy this in a year, sir. And that property can pay for this condo. Like, but that looks like a big deal. It's like the obstacle mindset. You were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, I would say to that person, like, why not get in on the investor side? Why not get in on the investor side first?
Elaborate on that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, even like with a 2 or 3K loan.
All day? No, just
at least with a 2 or 3. I'll just speak y'all language. Start off with at least with a 2 or 3K. Stop looking to purchase a property that's already complete. Like literally sweat equity. And I think that's what's missing with a lot of people nowadays. I remember back when I first got in real estate in 2000, like that's all we were doing with 2 or 3K loans. We were doing owner-occupied rehab loans. We were adding value to those properties, and their equity is yours. But nowadays, it's seeming like everybody got that microwave mentality. They just want everything complete.
Ooh.
And then when you have a microwave mentality, you're gonna pay top prices.
Right.
And I think and then now you got this whole market where everybody's rushing to properties that's finished, as opposed to getting the properties that's quote unquote condemned and adding the vision, adding sweat equity to the property, and then purchasing the property in that kind of way.
And I think that's because, like, in your course, you talk about building a team.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes, and I am a beast at doing loans, but I still work to master the whole construction part of it, right? Because renovation deals can make or break you if you don't build your team. So just like when we talked about different things, but the programs of learning how to get a person from A to B and really learn the steps. Well, oftentimes I think we wing the research, and that's the most important part, right? So what would you say as it relates to somebody that has never done a fix and flip or a house hack or whatever the situation is, what would you say to them as far as building your team? Like, how can this really work? This is somebody that really does this every day. You don't just do it for you. You teach. I've watched many people come through the course and flip properties and become successful. I flipped properties through the course and became successful. So my thing is that what do you say to that person that may have the weak mindset that you can do this? How do you get started? How do you build that team?
Yeah, real estate is the one profession, especially real estate investing, is the one profession that you can't do by yourself. You know, you have to have a team. You got to have a team in place. And the team, so I look at, so if you think about my Make Real Estate Real team, right? How I put all of us together, right? I never got a loan from you in the beginning, right? I never went to you for a loan. I never did an FHA loan through you.
Correct.
But you came word of mouth. So everybody that I have on my team, as far as what even Make Real Estate Real, either I work with them personally or they came by word of mouth by somebody that I work with personally.
Right.
I do that same thing when it comes to renovating properties. Every contract I have 4 crews that work for me for the last 17 years. They don't work for nobody else.
I was gonna say, do you let them work for somebody else?
I don't. My mama tried to get my crew one time. I said, Mom, I was like, don't you ever talk to my people again? I'm like, you got to come through me. Seriously. Yeah, they work for me all year round. And they all, one of my crews, maybe half of one of my crews was already together. But most of the people in my crew, I put them together. I introduced them to each other. And I got it. So all it takes is one. So if you got a good real estate broker, and they work, of course, real estate brokers are working with clients all the time and they get rehabs. All you got to do is just get a plumber or electrician and then talk to that one person. They're going to refer like a framer. And then the framer is going to be able to know good drywallers. And then people are going to refer or recommend other good contractors. And then you literally talk to them. The reason why most people find it hard, though, to put a team together is not because of the members of the team. It's usually because of them. They're not doing enough inventory to keep these people working.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about that while you were talking. So it's funny that you said that because I'm thinking if you got these realtors and they got multiple clients, then it sounds like they need to group up, or how you call it, JV, on just keeping a crew for their team so they can keep them working. So it sounds like they need to reinvent the wheel on creating a crew that can be used for multiple people over and over and over.
Yeah, and that's the secret to how I kept my team together for 17 years. It's never been 1 month, 1 week, 1 day in the last 23 years that I have not been working on real estate.
Wow. So you had the same crew for 17 years?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it comes to also developing that team. You can assist people. One time I saw a realtor actually, the contractor didn't know how to speak English. So she had me walk into that room to help them fill out the contractor licensing for the city of Chicago. So she's developing that team. Right. So it's looking for those key pieces and putting them to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the absolute best way. And then now you think about it. Once you put your team together, you're keeping people working. Now the price goes down.
Oh, because they get consistent flow.
Because they got consistent work.
Now they also find properties for you. I think that's the missing piece. Now your crew works for you. Have you ever had your crew find a property for you? No.
My crew stays so busy. They
get to come home, slow lunch, and go right back to work.
Yeah, we work. I mean, they work literally. They start at 7 in the morning and they stop at 5 p.m. 6 days a week. And this is by them. This is the hours they chose. This is how they work. And literally, we are working, probably renovating at least about 13 properties at the same time right now as we speak.
So when you do kind of like the portfolio investing, is that something? And I know you have a whole community of buyers, right, through the program. So are they able to kind of go through you to get?
Well, no. Properties? So the portfolio properties, I don't. So no. So some of the portfolio properties, I just go ahead and give it to the community, right, of my people. But I don't fix the properties up and sell them.
You buy them and then let them take advantage of.
I let them take advantage of.
And that's what I love about you.
Yeah, I leverage. So I leverage my cash. So just to give you an example, this last portfolio was $6.8 million. It was 63 properties. In this 63 properties, it was 160 units, right? Those are doors. The ARV came back on this portfolio at $21.1 million.
With a $6.8 million purchase?
Yeah, with a $6.8 million purchase.
Insanity.
But that happens so with a portfolio, I don't want to make it sound like it's all that. It's great, don't get me wrong. But the banks, right? When you go through some of these banks, They like, all right, they throw in some properties that they normally can't sell.
So you got to take some bad ones.
You have to take everything. So you can't pick and choose.
Right.
You know, so they put some great properties in there. They put some okay properties in there, and then they'll put some properties that's like, yo, city violations, literally fines. I mean, it's a lot. The value of it might not be that great, but overall, when you look at a portfolio like you would assess an individual property, you look at the overall picture of the portfolio.
Performance.
And then, I purchased this, and I already had identified probably about 20 properties in the portfolio that I was going to keep myself.
From the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. And then I had the other, 43, and I just wholesaled them, and pretty much I leveraged. So if you think about it, when you purchase a portfolio like that, the bank will give you, like, each property is pretty much 25 or 50 cents on the dollar. So if you just think about $1 by you purchasing the whole portfolio and by me paying $6.8 million up front, literally they gave it to me. I think it was more so like almost 50 cents on the dollar. Mm-hmm. And so it's so much equity in these. And some of the properties didn't need anything.
Wow.
I'm talking about like some of the properties, you put paint on the wall. I had one property that it came out to like 60-something thousand dollars is what we purchased it for. I painted the property. I changed the light fixtures. And I think we took up the countertops and put granite on the countertops and new light fixtures. And seriously, I sold that property for about $330,000. And I might have spent probably about $30,000 in it. Wow. So I probably was into about 90, close to 100,000. Yeah. So it's just that portfolio investing. And some people might ask, how do I get hooked up?
That was going to be I was like, if somebody in the room today has $6.8 million and they can purchase a portfolio, how do they too go ahead and purchase those portfolios?
Believe it or not, there's real estate brokers that only work with banks that sell portfolios. And so once you team up, now I ain't gonna tell y'all who they are. I ain't gonna give you that information, but like she over here with I'm saying,
they got the recorders up. Let's go.
Right, but there are some real estate agents, real estate brokers out here, and they only sell portfolios. So I'm gonna give you the cheat code. All right, here go the cheat code because I see y'all
right here on Stand on Your Business podcast.
Here you go. All right, the cheat code. The cameraman, Dre over here.
I
better not see you compete with me, dog. Then I got one of my Make Real Estate Real members over here who are real estate brokers. She about to be competing. But no, the cheat code is simple. So just go on the MLS. I'm gonna give you the simple way. Go on the MLS. When you go on the MLS, you're gonna see a lot of properties. You got to really be studying the MLS, right? And then you'll see a lot of different properties, and they'll have the same real estate broker. And then sometimes in the comments section, it'll say, you can get this property with this property.
I've seen it.
If you look, a lot of times there's multiple properties like that, right? But it might not show up on the listing that's coming to you because you might only have your search engine for this property, just 3 units and under 200,000. But if you look, that same real estate broker is selling a portfolio and they just trying to break it up right now. And so you just reach out to that real estate broker and say, I'm interested in portfolios. Like I noticed that you have multiple properties that you're selling and it's from the same seller. And it's like, I'm interested in purchasing a portfolio. Do you have any that's multiple properties? And they'd be like, oh, absolutely. And literally that's how you get connected. And once you close and have a relationship, like I have this portfolio, the one that we closed this one, it was 6.8 million. I put 2 million down. I put 2 million cash down out of my own pocket. And this guy, he made 400,000, I want to say commission. And yeah, and he literally
heard that agent 400,000 on a commission. Through.
He made $400,000 commission. And he literally calls me up with every single portfolio. He's like, hey, I'm talking about he might call me up with a 4-property portfolio. He called me up with a 20-property portfolio, an 80-property portfolio. It don't even make a difference now, but he's steadily shooting it to me because he know I close deals.
Exactly. When you could come to the table with $2 million and make it happen, they just want to get it off the table as fast as they can. Yep. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but I know that you are now building a skyscraper building in the South Shore.
Yes.
And with that, this is, new, right? This hasn't really been done in hundreds of years, right? Because we haven't seen any new construction over there. Yeah. So what makes you go from 9 to 5 millionaires to I'm flipping properties to I'm about to build a whole skyscraper in South Shore?
Yeah. What made me go? You know what? I'm at this point, man, and it's crazy because everybody that was in the room heard me talk about in the beginning when I got shot at as a Chicago police officer, and it changed my life. I'm literally, I just believe that everything is possible, right? And now I got to the point where in my life, I only I'm 46 years old. It's crazy. I started real estate when I was 22 years old.
I'm 26. No, I'm just
26.
playing.
I'm really at that point in my life now where it's like I only do things, right? I'm only investing in things. I only do things that's gonna be like legacy.
Right.
Like I'm on legacy right now. I stopped being on money, a bunch of properties ago. Now I am seriously on legacy. Like literally, I want my grandchildren and great grandchildren to go by that building, go by that skyscraper and be like, man, touch the bricks and be like, man, this was my grandfather. Like every time I do a podcast, I'm not speaking to, right now we got our podcast, Secret to Success podcast. It's one of the top podcasts in the world for personal development. And every time I'm on there and I'm speaking on there, I'm not speaking to the people that's in the audience. I'm not speaking to the people that's on the stand with me. I'm speaking to my great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. I'm telling them things. I'm saying things
that you want them to come back
it's a record. So I look at everything as a record. Like literally at the end of the end of the day, nobody gonna remember the shoes we got on in here. Y'all ladies got some nice shoes on. So nobody gonna remember this jewelry you got on. Nobody gonna remember how much money you made. Nobody gonna remember none of this stuff. But what record are you leaving? What evidence are you leaving that you existed?
A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
And I'm trying to go deeper than that. So not just for my children, but I felt like in the South Shore community, like every little black kid that walked by that building, they need to know that a black man built this.
Yes.
They need to see that.
Right on the beach.
Because if you think about it, it's exposure, right? I say your level of exposure will determine your level of success. Like the things that you exposed to really determines. So like I never went to school for none of this stuff. I never went to school for the security company, the multi-millionaire security company we got, the chain of daycare centers we got, the real estate investing, having one of the top real estate courses in the world right now. I never even for being a motivational speaker, I never went to school for anything, but I got exposed to everything. So everything that I'm doing right now, it was somebody that was doing it at a high level, and I just set my mark on that person, and then I went after it. So, but that's the problem. A lot of people, they set their mark so low, and so then that's why they get what they get, and they mad, and they complaining. But it's like literally, if you just go ahead and set your mark high, imagine. Like I didn't even know you. I didn't know you. I saw you on a billboard.
He was like, I want you to come to dinner tonight to be on this program. I'm like,
Yeah, I didn't even know you. And I saw you on a billboard. Every time I went to my house on the corner, that new development, and they had your, and I was like, man, she seemed like she's doing big things. I see you on the billboard everywhere. And then I was just like, man, let me reach out to you. I just exposure. And then all of a sudden.
I've been exposed.
Yeah, but that's the deal. And that's why it's so important that you make sure that the company you keep, right? Exposure is two ways. It's a two-way street. At the same time, while you're getting exposure from someone, you should be giving them exposure at the same time. And so that's why you got to really be careful on not just the music you listen to and the things you read, but like I don't even watch TV no more. I'm this thing now has like my eyes have been open, and every time I do something on a high level, it just opens the door, and it don't just open the door like to in my mind, but it opens up new possibilities. It opens up new everything.
Yes,
and it just keeps on, but it's all on a high level. And so the more and more I believe, and the more I keep going after crazy things on a level, like who said that? Who said that building a skyscraper is something crazy?
A lot of people.
But that's the only reason why we think it's crazy is
because somebody said it was crazy.
Somebody said it's crazy because none of us are doing it because we don't know anybody that's doing it. But I guarantee you,
and
now
it's easy
that
to lean on the impossible than it to lean on the possible.
Natasha, I'm telling you, now that I'm connected, now I'm a developer, now I'm in here with all of these people and I'm developing things now. In the world of developers, is not crazy. Matter of fact, in the world of developers, for me building a 17-story skyscraper in South Shore, that's like bare minimum to them. It's like bare minimum. I just sat with a guy that's doing a skyscraper downtown Chicago, and he looked at me like, this little old thing you got going on here.
So we already know what's coming next after this project.
So that's what I'm saying, though. When you're exposed to the high level, it stretches your mind. It stretches you. It makes you say what the possibilities and things like that. Andre, you had him on here. He was talking about NACA. I met him 4 years ago. He was just a cameraman. And literally, he was like, he wanted to meet me. And he was talking about, he wanted to get in real estate, or he just bought a building. I think at the time, I'm not even sure. But just by, me and him was talking, and now he's sharing the same stage I was on. I'm in front of 22,000 people. I'm keynoting, he in there with me, we talking, but we've been, and his mind has been stretched now. And I'm like, when you don't get exposed to something, you're shocked, right?
Yeah.
When something like this happens, like when I spoke at InvestFest when y'all was there and they had me go out there, 22,000 people, Puffy coming on after me. And, I remember somebody looked at me and they was like, man, you gonna be okay, bro? Like, you all right? Like,
You're like, I got this on the fly.
And I just was like, I said, man, do you see? I was like, man, do you see who I speak with? I speak with the #1 motivational speaker in the world. I done shared the stage with Les Brown,
Yes.
Eric Thomas. I done Inky Johnson. I done been all over the world. I'm an international speaker. I done spoke in London. I done spoke in Jamaica. I done spoken, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be here.
Exactly.
So when I walked out on that
your
stage, when I walked out on that stage, it wasn't any fear at all. When I tell you, when no fear, I like looked at him like, man, I'll be back real quick, man. I'm about to go back.
Let's do this real fast.
I know, Chuck. I was like, man, I'm about to go do this real quick. 22,000 people.
I was
And I'm
in the
like,
audience.
I'm about to go do this real quick. And then as soon as I got off the stage, came right back. Like, yeah, so what's up, dog? Like, man, you going up next? Because I wanted to see him because he's about to go speak in the other breakout room.
Right.
But it's a feeling of expectancy. And I think that's what exposure does. It gives you that feeling like, man, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing this. And so with the skyscraper, man, I've been doing real estate for 23 years. Supposed to be doing this.
I love it. Exposure. And just like tonight when we do our live podcast on Stand on Your Own Business, we are exposing you to our network of people who may not think it's possible. And a lot of our heavy hitters are out here doing it every day. But when we can create this exposure for them, then that just opens up the next level of what they're going to do. Because the more we expose our community, the more our community can win. And we got to make this possible. What we do every day is possible. You know what I'm saying? They just got to see and believe that it can really happen.
Absolutely.
If you had to give someone one key next step, right? So let's say that they do have a property, they own their primary home, or they're stuck on that second home. What would be the next step for, to break out of that limitation?
Yeah, so the limitation is all limitations are the ones that you create for yourself. So that limitation is not the lenders, it's not the market, it's not the contractors, not the real estate broker. The limitation is somewhere that's easy for them to find, right? Like, where's the limitation at? And I would tell them, they looking around for the limitations, I would say, all you got to do is look within yourself. The limitations are within you. Like, literally, you need to cancel out this feeling that you got in your mind. Like the same way how you was able to get your first property, now you just got to go follow the rules, follow the steps, follow the formula to get that second property. And so I would say they don't have limitations. They got a lack of information. And the lack of information is what's limiting them. And so their mindset is limited, and that's why they're not moving forward. So I would say, and I tell people all the time, information before income, information before anything you do. Get the right information. I think a lot of people always try to bypass that step, right? And it's something, I see that a lot in our culture with our people. We always trying to get there quick.
Always.
And I'm just like, man,
skipping steps.
Yeah, and I'm like, you
No
don't
research.
even realize that the information, like once you learn the information, you change your mindset on even, like people always talk this about it and say, man, I don't know if I got enough money. I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's like, if you get the information first, and the information, you build your plan based off of the information. And then you can build on top of that. So I would tell that person, get the information first, right? Information, and then get exposed to what it is that you want to do. And then now you got to go ahead and follow the blueprint. Like, it's so simple. We got people in Make Real Estate Real. We got thousands of members now. And we see people, we have success in different countries right now. I got an investor that's in Australia, and he comes here like once every 6 months, and I think he's on his 4th property right now.
I met one of your investors from Canada.
He got involved. We got a bunch of investors in Canada. I was in Dubai in last November at this time, and I was just out in the middle of nowhere, and this guy comes up to me screaming my name, Jemal. And I was like, he called my name like he knew me. I was like, what's up? I know you. And he's like, I'm in Make Real Estate Real, South Africa.
Nice.
And I was just like, golly. I was like, y'all got real estate out there? Like,
Really
it's just
everywhere.
this thing has definitely, and I'm proud, I'm happy. This thing has grown into something that's gonna outlive me. It's bigger than me, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be. It's literally people. This thing that we've created is generational. Like literally, y'all know the average net worth of a Black family is $24,000.
24,000.
That's a black family, not one black individual, a black family.
Wow.
It's $24,000, while the average net worth of a white family is $187,000.
Got to bridge that gap. And the only way we can do that is through real estate, life insurance,
Exactly.
and mindset.
And information.
Yes, 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 yes. So I want to ask you at the end of all of this, as it relates to what's next. Like, I am one of those people where, like, you know, we've been working hard forever. You know, you started as a police officer, now you go into this entire new career. Now you're building skyscrapers. So, you know, as far as like the stopping, some people like, I work hard every day because I want to retire, or because I want to stop working, or I just want to wake up in the morning and hear the church burping. You know, so what is it? What's your retirement? Like, what is the stoppage for you, or is there a stoppage?
I've been retired for about 20 years.
So this is not work for you.
This is not work.
This
I'm
is
in purpose.
retirement. I love it.
Yeah. So it's man, and it's so crazy, and I hate even talking about it, because now it's time when I get emotional. And this ain't over here waiting for it. But you know, I would say probably about 95% of people probably go through life without even knowing what they were brought here to do. Just think about it. We sit back and I hate doing it even on the internet. We are on social media and everything. Everybody's all talking about money. You talking about, you know, man, cars. We talking about clothes. We talking about all this other stuff. And people don't even realize that the greatest gift that you could have is when you walking in purpose. It's unbelievable. And that's why I'm so careful. That's where the discipline comes in with everything. I'm so careful to watch everything I do now, because I don't want to get out of sync. I don't want to get out of purpose. Like, literally, all these doors are opening up, not because I got money. All these doors are opening up, not because of my education. All these doors that's opened up in my life is not because of this person like me or that person like me. It's nothing more than favor. It's nothing more than me walking in purpose, knowing exactly who I am, knowing exactly what I'm supposed to do, knowing exactly whose I am, and knowing the assignment. And now that I'm working in purpose, now I'm walking in purpose, I have been rewarded in public, you know, so that's all y'all seeing is just me being rewarded for doing what it is that I was called to do.
Well, we appreciate you, because you coming today, you sharing all this great information, dropping gems to everyone on Stand On Your Business podcast is amazing. And we want people to win. So we're all about giving you the information so that way you could be dangerous. So get to your next level, so that way you can grow your family and decide what is your plan going to be? Is it going to be this generation, the next generation? What is your purpose going to be? Yeah. What is your vehicle going to be? So we just want to get you on a vehicle so you can drive somewhere to where you want to go, and we can get you to that next step.
And you can always follow him on 9 to 5 Millionaire, but also the course is available for everyone. There is no limitation on who can be part of this course. So how could somebody sign up for your course?
Thank you. You can go to makerealestatereal.com. That's makerealestatereal.com. You can go to JemalKing.com. You can go to 9to5millionaire.com. I mean, I'm all over social media now, and it's crazy because I never had, and this is important for all those investors out here, the people that's trying to do it. When I was out here buying these properties and working as a police officer, I never had social media. I didn't have social media until they made me get social media, you know, and I didn't have it because I was too busy working. Mm-hmm. And I think mostly now people are too busy on social media trying to show people they got it. But I was really doing it. I really had it first, and then I came out to the public.
Yeah, I heard that. Real things happening. We're not just settling on what can happen. This is walking person that can actually doing it every day.
Yep. So you can follow me at 9to5millionaire on IG.
Well, thank you so much for blessing us with this interview. We thank you for blessing the Stand On Your Business podcast.
Let's go.
This was an awesome challenge for us, and I'm just so grateful also to my partner, Natasha Robinson, for making this happen today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.